I think it would be better if you didn't come this year. My brother Trevor's voice echoes through the phone. 3 years older, a struggling artist, and the man I've been financially supporting for 8 years. The wooden cinnamon spoon I was holding falls to the kitchen counter with an unusually loud sound. The sweet aroma of Christmas bread pudding wafting from the oven suddenly becomes as heavy as lead. What do you mean? Because Marissa is coming, he says, his voice carrying a strange tension when he mentions his new girlfriend's name. Even through the phone, I can hear that small sound. The sound of him touching his left earlobe. Trevor's unchanged habit since childhood, the sound of touching his earlobe when lying. Whether being scolded by mother or forgetting homework, he always rubs his left earlobe. I can hear that sound now. My voice is trembling. After finishing a 12-hour shift in the geriatric ward, I came home to carefully wrapped presents staring at me from under the fireplace. A cashmere scarf. I worked 3 extra night shifts to buy it for Mother. She's a bit sensitive, you see. Someone like you. Well, being so serious makes the atmosphere heavy. Snow is dancing outside the window. Near the door sits my suitcase, carefully packed for the stay at my parents' house I'd been planning for months. So, you're excluding me from Christmas? Don't put it that way, Teresa. You understand, don't you? Every year you just sit there, barely talking. Mom says so too. It brings down the mood. The sound of blood rushes in my ears. My fingertips grow cold. During my 6 years in medical school, I was a burden to the family. Tuition, living expenses, everything put pressure on the household budget. The moment I graduated, I was told, "Now it's your turn to support the family." I gladly responded to Mother's words. I thought it was proof that I was loved. Mom feels the same way. Silence. That silence tells everything. The sweet smell of bread pudding suddenly makes me nauseous. Teresa, please understand. Maybe next year. The earlobe again. The same sound as when he was a child. I hung up. In the silence, only the Christmas lights blink innocently. An hour later, a call from Mother. I stare at the word Mom displayed on the screen. Habit wins, and I press the answer button. Hello, Mom. Honey, her voice drips with artificial sweetness. Trevor told me, are you upset? Mother's position in her bridge club is the mother of a doctor-daughter, material to boast about to the neighborhood housewives. But she knows nothing about the real me. Not my favorite color, not my struggles at work, not my loneliness. I'm not exactly upset. Good. I just want you to think about Marissa. She's such a delicate girl. Delicate. When Mother uses this word, someone always becomes a sacrifice. Always me. We think it would be nice if you could be a little brighter, a little more normal. Normal. Mother's dictionary doesn't contain words that accept me as I am. Maybe next year will be different. If you try harder. Try harder. In this family, is there anyone else besides me who tries? Trevor has been a promising artist for 15 years since graduating from art college. He's actually sold 2 paintings in the past 3 years. His monthly income is less than my daily salary, but his pride is higher than anyone's. After hanging up, I open my banking app. Numbers line up on the blue-white screen. Monthly $1,200. Mortgage support $6,000. Trevor's art studio loan $2,500. Mother's knee surgery costs $500. Father's golf club membership renewal. Father is a partner at a mid-sized local law firm. At Boulder's Golf Club, he proudly talks about having a doctor-daughter, but he's avoided talking directly to me. For 8 years, he's been receiving monthly mortgage support as his rightful due. 8 years, 96 transfers, over $150,000 total. My finger touches the screen. Stop monthly transfers, are you sure? Execute. Silence returns to the room. Strangely, my heart feels lighter. The burden I'd carried for 8 years disappeared with a press of a button. I took a hot shower to warm my body. In the steam, tears flowed for the first time tonight. not sadness. Liberation. Christmas morning. Snow blankets, bolder and white. I slip my hospital ID into my pocket and leave home. Today is voluntary work. On a day when I have nowhere else to go, patients are waiting for me. I walk down the geriatric ward hallway. The smell of disinfectant, the quiet beeping of monitors. This is my sanctuary. Dr. Hartman. Ms. Chen waves her hand. 78 years old, former secretary. Her son sends only Christmas cards once a year. She continues paying for her own treatment because the last time they met, he told her to stop wasting money. She clutches a faded family photo with fingers bent by arthritis. You're working on Christmas? This is where I belong. It's not a lie. The look of relief on Ms. Chen's face tells the story of my worth. Next door, Mr. Rodriguez dozes in his chair. The TV murmurs, "It's a Wonderful Life" in Spanish. His daughter hasn't visited in 3 years because he refused financial support. Just like me, I think. When family love comes with conditions, it's no longer love. My phone vibrates. Photos are posted in the family group chat. Trevor carving the turkey. Mother's antique china gleaming under candlelight. And Marissa laughing at the center. A perfect family portrait. There's no chair prepared for me. As if I never existed in the first place. I turn off the screen and head to Margaret Wilson's room. Doctor, working on Christmas, Margaret's silver hair spreads beautifully on the pillow. A small Christmas cactus blooms coral flowers on the windowsill. 82 years old, former nurse. She's been estranged from her son for 30 years. There are people more important than family here. Margaret's eyes smile gently. Family isn't just blood connections, doctor. It's connections of the heart. My son demanded money from me for 30 years. When I refused, he stopped letting me see my grandchildren. Her words sink into my chest. But the patients here need me, like you. Margaret squeezes my hand. Thin as paper, but warm. What I learned later was that Trevor actually showed Marissa family photos that night. Graduation pictures and family vacation memories covering the entire living room wall. That's Teresa. She's a doctor. When Marissa stopped at my medical school graduation photo, she didn't yet know I was her grandmother's attending physician. She just had a simple question. Why isn't a doctor-daughter here? Until she talked to her grandmother. She stared at the empty chair, beginning to wonder why the family avoided mentioning my name. A few days later, I meet a woman holding white flowers in the hospital lobby. Marissa, Trevor's girlfriend. She should be an enemy, but there's no hostility in her eyes. You're Dr. Hartman? I nod warily. Her designer boots click against the linoleum floor. I wanted to thank you about my grandmother. Grandmother? When my grandmother was hospitalized last fall, you were her attending physician. Evelyn Wilson. Do you remember? Memory surfaces. A small woman, former teacher. While no one visited, I listened to her stories about 1960s education. Of course I remember. My grandmother can't forget you. She calls you the first doctor who saw me as a human being. Marissa's hands tremble slightly. What Trevor told me and what my grandmother told me are completely different. He describes you like a problematic sister, but my grandmother calls you a lifesaver. Silence. Hospital bustle sounds distant. They didn't invite you to Christmas, did they? I can't answer. At Christmas, I felt something was wrong. Why wasn't a doctor-daughter at the family gathering? My blood runs cold. But when I talked to my grandmother, she said, "Oh, that wonderful doctor." That's when everything connected, including that you fund his studio. Her voice grows quiet. I'm sorry. You were excluded because of me. My pager beeps. Mrs. Wilson in room 302. Margaret. Excuse me. I return to duty. Work. Wait, Marissa says. Is there anything you'd like me to tell my grandmother? I turn around. Under the hospital fluorescent lights, genuine concern shows on Marissa's face. Please tell her she's a wonderful woman. And that I learned from her that sometimes there are things more important than blood connections. That night, a call from Trevor. Teresa, you talked to Marissa? Anxiety seeps into his voice. His usual composure is gone. She came to me. What did you talk about? Her grandmother. Silence. I hear his breathing over the phone. And that familiar sound. The sound of rubbing his left earlobe. Teresa, please don't say anything misleading. Misleading. He calls 8 years of financial support misleading? I only told the truth. The truth. You don't mean the money, do you? He finally revealed his true feelings. The money I paid? Your studio, our parents' mortgage, mother's surgery costs. Over $150,000 in 8 years. That's family helping each other, right? Family helping each other. The technique of wrapping one-sided exploitation in beautiful words. Trevor, the support ends this month. What? I stopped all automatic bank transfers. I hear him gasp over the phone. You're kidding, right, Teresa, you? I'm not kidding. You excluded me from Christmas, didn't you? Then you should be excluded financially too. Wait, let's talk. But I had already hung up. After the new year, while snow covers Boulder, my phone keeps ringing. The 20th call from Trevor. Simultaneously, a notification from the bank. Payment failed, art studio loan delete. Messages pile up. Explain to Marissa. Clear up the misunderstanding. Trevor's galleries are starting to cancel bookings. Dad's golf buddies are asking questions. Then, an official letter arrives. Father's law firm letterhead. Heavy paper with printed text. Concerns regarding Dr. Teresa's excessive working hours and mental burnout syndrome. That week, Susan from hospital HR stops me. Dr. Hartman, your father called about arranging mental health leave. Concern colors Susan's face. I told him that leave requests must come from the physician directly. Thank you, Susan. In my office, I pull out a file labeled documentation from the back of a drawer. 8 years of checks, loan agreements, payment records. I add father's letter to it. If my family resorts to legal measures, I have evidence too. A Friday in February. An unexpected visitor in the hospital corridor. Marissa stands holding a bouquet of white winter flowers. Dr. Hartman, may I have a moment? Her voice lacks Trevor's practiced charm. There's genuine hesitation. I'm truly sorry about Christmas. I maintain professional distance. You don't need to apologize. Yes, I do. Her hands grip the flower stems. My grandmother taught me. When I consulted my grandmother about why that wonderful doctor wasn't at the family gathering, she immediately knew it was you. That's when I started investigating in detail and discovered you fund his studio. What did he tell you? That he's an artist living on parental support. That his sister is a doctor, but a bit odd. A bitter expression crosses Marissa's mouth. The expensive restaurant meals, gallery opening costs, it was all your money, wasn't it? Marissa, you did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong? Her voice rises. You were excluded from family because of me? You were entertaining me with your own money? Nurses pass by in the hospital corridor. Daily routine continues. I made a decision. That's all. What kind of decision? I learned to respect myself. Tears well up in Marissa's eyes. I broke up with Trevor. I'm surprised. My grandmother said, people who take kindness for granted don't deserve that kindness. That weekend, heavy clouds and heavier footsteps echo outside my apartment. Through the peephole, I see my family clustered in the hallway. Mother in her thrift store coat, father gripping his leather portfolio, Trevor clutching overdue payment notices. Teresa, honey. Mother's voice echoes through the door. We want to talk. I open the door just 3 inches, keeping the security chain latched. Mother's familiar perfume tries to evoke childhood holiday memories. From when I still believed trying harder would make them see me. No. The word comes out calmly. The same tone I use when delivering diagnoses. Wait. Trevor tries to push the overdue notices through the door gap. You can't. The door closes quietly. I've been paying your bills for 8 years. My voice carries through the solid wood. Techniques for calming anxious patients taught me the power of a steady tone. You took my money while treating me as an obligation. I hear Mother's sharp intake of breath. That's not fair, honey. We've always. I won't fund my own exclusion anymore. Silence stretches like a flat line on a heart monitor. Father clears his throat. This isn't like you, Teresa. Laughter bubbles up with surprising lightness. Let me say what decades of silence have buried. You never once tried to know who I am. Footsteps retreat down the hallway. Papers slide under the door. Payment demands. Guilt wrapped in legal jargon. The price they assumed I'd keep paying to belong. I gather the papers without reading them and add them to my documentation file. Outside my window, the snow has stopped. Late afternoon sun breaks through, setting the white landscape ablaze with unexpected light. The following week, the hospital corridor gleams under fluorescent lights. While signing Mrs. Jensen's updated care plan at the nurse's station, new nurse Sarah looks up from her computer. Dear Hartman, your parents visited the other day. I didn't know they lived in Boulder. My pen stops on the chart. They don't. The words come out quieter than intended. Did they need something? Sarah's eyes widen slightly, but she says nothing. Silence fills with understanding I never wanted to give. Down the hall, Mr. Garcia waves from his doorway. His thin face brightens as I approach. Dr. Hartman, look what my grandchildren sent. He holds up a handmade card covered in glitter and wobbly letters. They're visiting next week. I lean against his doorframe, smiling at his joy. Here, in quiet moments with patients who value presence over performance, I find the belonging my family never offered. The morning passes in the familiar rhythm of rounds and consultations. During lunch break, Beth from reception brings a cream-colored envelope to the doctor's lounge. This came for you. An envelope placed beside my sandwich. From Marissa Wilson. My stomach tightens at the name. I carefully unfold a single sheet of heavy stationery. Dear Dr. Hartman, you didn't just save my grandmother's life last October. You made her feel alive. The way my grandmother lights up talking about you. The doctor who listened, who remembered her stories about 1960s education, who treated her as a person, not a problem. The Teresa they describe at family gatherings and the doctor I met at the hospital, they're two different people. Or perhaps the same person seen through completely different eyes. I'm sorry we couldn't see what was right in front of us all these years. With gratitude and regret, Marissa, the paper trembles slightly in my hands. I read it twice more, then take a simple black frame from my desk. The letter fits perfectly. Edges aligned with careful precision. I place it next to my medical school diploma. Twin testimonies to who I am when no one is trying to make me smaller. That afternoon, a local reporter interviews me for a feature on geriatric care. I talk about dignity and aging, about listening to patients' stories, about honoring the full lives behind each medical chart. The article runs the following week. My photo alongside quotes about compassionate care and patient advocacy. Colleagues share it online. Comments flood in from former patients' families. Dr. Hartman saved my father's spirit while saving his life. She gave my mother back her voice when others stopped listening. As spring approaches, the story circulates through Boulder's tight-knit community. Boulder's art scene is small. Gallery owners know each other. When Marissa's posts spread, rumors also spread that Trevor's patron was his sister. His image as an independent artist was damaged. At his latest gallery opening, Trevor stands alone by his paintings. Our parents find their usual social circles suddenly busy with other commitments. The carefully curated image of the perfect family splinters under the weight of whispered questions about the doctor-daughter they never mention. A spring day. Sunlight illuminates the early spring vegetable stands at Boulder Farmers Market. While adjusting my canvas shopping bag filled with local honey and greenhouse herbs, Dr. Elena Martinez talks about her grandson's first steps. Around us are other colleagues enjoying weekend shopping. Pediatric Sarah selects organic vegetables. Radiology John evaluates local bread. The morning air carries hints of fresh bread and spring flowers, mingling with guitar music from a nearby street performer. Suddenly, Sarah's hand stops. John turns around too. The sudden hush from colleagues breaks our conversation. My spine stiffens before I see them. Warnings need no words. Teresa. What a coincidence. Mother's voice rings bright as a new penny. She weaves between produce stands with father trailing behind like a shadow. Their presence feels wrong here. In my Saturday sanctuary. Like discovering a snake in your garden. Father's eyes fix on my shopping bag. The last time he looked directly at me was 8 years ago when I handed him the first mortgage check. Trevor hangs back by a display of young green branches, shoulders hunched. A woman beside him carefully examines organic vegetables, not watching our family tableau. We've been trying to reach you, honey. Mother steps forward, arms outstretched for a hug I won't return. The same perfume since 1985 threatens to overwhelm the market's honest sense of earth and vegetables. Elena's hand brushes my elbow. Silent signal. I'm here. Your father's having Sunday grilling. Mother smooths her linen blouse, a gesture I recognize from countless family photographs. We expect you at 6. Not an invitation. An announcement. The old Teresa would have nodded. Would have shown up with a bottle of wine and an aching smile, desperate to prove her worth. No. The word falls like a stone in still water. Don't be difficult, Teresa. Mother's voice drops to a stage whisper. We're trying to make things right. Are you? The question comes out calm, professional. The same tone I use discussing terminal diagnoses with families. When did you decide? When Trevor's gallery connections dried up. When Dad's golf friends started asking questions. That's not fair. Trevor steps forward, abandoning his display of young branches. I listen carefully. That sound isn't there. When cornered, when he knows lies won't work anymore, the habit doesn't appear. This isn't the place. You're right. I meet his gaze. The place was Christmas. When you excluded me for being too serious for your girlfriend. Mother's fingers flutter to her throat. Honey, please. The place was when Dad called my hospital suggesting I needed mental health leave. A sharp intake of breath from Elena. This is news to her. The place was 8 years ago when I started paying your mortgage. My voice carries across displays of organic honey and handmade soap. Funding Trevor's studio and covering Mom's knee surgery. Heads turn, whispers ripple through the market crowd. Mother's tears start right on schedule. How can you embarrass us like this in public? Sarah and John walk toward me. Elena moves closer to my shoulder. A quiet wall of white coats and scrubs. My chosen family moving into formation. I'm not embarrassing you. Truth flows easily now, like clean water from a spring. I'm telling the truth. You couldn't find room for me at Christmas, but found time to call my workplace suggesting I was unstable. You excluded me from family photos, but cash my checks every month. This isn't like you, Teresa. Father speaks his first words of the morning. You're making a scene. Laughter surprises me with its lightness. What does a father who never tried to know me know about what I'm like? What do you want from us? Trevor's voice cracks. The same break I heard when he called about Christmas. But this time there's fear underneath. Fear of empty bank accounts and unpaid bills. Nothing. The word tastes like freedom. I don't need to be invited back into a family that never valued me. I've found people who see me for who I really am. I glance at my colleagues. These people who trust my judgment and value my quiet ways. That's what family should be. As the sun warms my face, I turn away. Guitar music fills the air again. A vendor calls out about fresh spring vegetables. The market returns to life around us. Reality rushes back into the space where our family fiction finally crumbled. Elena falls into step beside me as I walk toward the next stall. Her silence speaks volumes. The kind of quiet support I never found at home. Behind us, I hear Mother's voice rising. Teresa Marie Hartman, don't you dare walk away. but I'm already gone. My steps light, my back straight, my heart beating steady and strong. Truth weighs nothing at all. That night, an email arrives from Mother. The timestamp shows she's been writing and rewriting for hours. Dearest Teresa, we miss you. Your father always says the house feels empty without you dropping by with your bread pudding. We never meant to hurt you. Can't we start over? Family should stick together. Also, honey, could you please talk to Marissa about taking down that social media post? Trevor's career is at stake. He's having trouble booking new galleries. Love, Mom. No mention of Christmas. No acknowledgement of 8 years of financial support. No recognition that family should stick together rings hollow when they couldn't make room for me at their table. I read the email twice, noting the familiar pattern. Crisis brings them to my door, but never to repair what they broke in me, only to fix what's broken. The email goes to archives unanswered. 1 year later, Christmas Eve. Snow taps quietly against my window. The scent of apple cinnamon bread pudding wafts from the kitchen, and the Douglas fir in my living room glows with white Christmas lights. This year is different. This year my chosen family is coming. A gentle knock breaks the quiet at my front door. Come in, I call, sliding another bread pudding into the oven. The door opens to familiar faces. Sarah from pediatrics, John from radiology, Elena from physical therapy. Their arms overflow with dishes and small gifts. Something smells amazing in here, Dr. H. Sarah says, setting down a crystal bowl of cranberry sauce. Her holiday sweater sparkles with tiny lights, a holdover from the children's ward Christmas party. More colleagues filter in, filling my once quiet space with gentle chatter and laughter. A timer chimes, and I pull out the bread pudding, golden brown and perfect. The ritual soothes me. This time I'm cooking for people who choose to be here. Teresa. A soft voice cuts through the noise. Margaret Wilson stands in my doorway, leaning on her walker, but stronger than last Christmas. Her silver hair is expertly styled for the occasion, catching the light. You made it. I cross the room, taking her coat. The walker clicks against hardwood as she settles into the armchair I've saved especially for her. Wouldn't miss it. Margaret pats my hand. To think a year ago I was stuck in that hospital bed, certain it would be my last Christmas. And now look. She grins, adjusting the red shawl around her shoulders. All thanks to the doctor who saw me as a person, not just another chart. The doorbell rings again. Jenny, a young nurse, shifts from foot to foot in the cold. Sorry I'm late. The drive from night shift was slippery. You came straight from work? She nods, unwinding her scarf. Wouldn't skip your Christmas gathering after what you did for me during that whole mess with my parents. We gather around my dining table, mismatched chairs squeezed in tight. Stories flow between bites of turkey and spoonfuls of bread pudding. Margaret shares tales from her nursing days in the 1960s. Elena describes her grandmother's secret tamale recipe. Jenny talks about learning to build her own traditions after walking away from toxic family patterns. Sometimes I wonder, Jenny admits, pushing cranberries around her plate, if I did the right thing setting those boundaries. The table goes quiet. They all know pieces of my story now, whispered in break rooms or shared over late-night coffee. Sometimes the family we choose sees us more clearly than the family we're born into. I say, the words rising from a place of peace rather than pain. That's what I learned this year. A knock at the door interrupts the murmurs of agreement. Margaret's eyes sparkle with something knowing as I rise to answer. Her granddaughter stands on my welcome mat, cheeks pink from the cold. I brought someone who wanted to meet you. She steps aside to reveal Marissa holding a small gift wrapped in silver paper. I hope it's okay, Marissa says. I've been wanting to thank you properly for everything with Gran. Silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken understanding. Then I step back, opening the door wider. There's plenty of bread pudding. Marissa settles into our gathering like she belongs. When she mentions her recent separation from Trevor, no one offers empty platitudes. These people understand that sometimes walking away is an act of self-respect. Your grandmother asks about you. I tell her later as others chat over coffee and dessert. She says you saved more than her life that day in the hospital. You showed her what strength really looks like. I think of the brother who couldn't make room for me at his table, the parents who took my support while withholding their acceptance. A text lights up my phone. Merry Christmas. We miss you from Mom. No manipulation this time. No veiled requests for money or reconciliation. I set the phone aside without responding, turning back to the warm circle of my chosen family. Margaret launches into another story about her nursing days, her hands painting pictures in the air. Jenny leans forward, entranced. Sarah adds her own hospital tales while John groans at the medical humor. These people see my quiet strength, dedication, the heart beneath the professional exterior. They don't need me to be louder or lighter or different. They pull up chairs to my table and bring dishes to share and understand that family means making room for who someone truly is. I used to think love meant being the one who stayed late, who fixed everything, who never needed thanks. But real love doesn't make you beg for a place at the table. And a family that only values you for what you give was never family to begin with. Looking around my living room at these faces, lit by Christmas lights and warmed by connection, I finally understand. Sometimes the hardest act of self-respect is recognizing when to walk away and when to build something new, something real. The snow continues to fall outside my window, each flake finding its own path to the ground. Inside, laughter rings against my walls, and the scent of cinnamon and apples wraps around us like a promise. I found my way home at last. Epilogue. 6 months later, Spring Boulder is wrapped in fresh green. In the hospital cafeteria, I'm having coffee with Margaret's granddaughter. She says she's decided to enter nursing school. Hearing my grandmother talk about you made me interested in the medical field. Outside the window, cherry trees are in full bloom. A symbol of new life, my phone buzzes. A text from Trevor. The gallery is closing. Can we talk? I read the message, then slip the phone into my pocket. I don't answer. Instead, I focus on the beauty of the new season, on Margaret's granddaughter's enthusiasm, on the possibilities of a reborn life. Sometimes the deepest healing comes from not picking at old wounds. Sometimes the greatest love is expressed by keeping distance. And sometimes real family is made not by blood, but by choice. Cherry blossoms dance in the wind. Beautiful, free, heading toward new places. Just like me.